Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The Competition Commission has dismantled a suspected bid-rigging syndicate and launched legal proceedings against multiple companies and intermediaries. They allegedly colluded to obtain building maintenance contracts for 11 housing estates or industrial buildings, totaling nearly $700 million. They include fire-ravaged Wanford Court in Taipo. A deadly blaze that claimed more than 160 lives, but also brought to light suspected systemic networks and entrenched practices of bid rigging in Hong Kong's building maintenance sector. The latest to unravel, a bid rigging syndicate which sought to corner a quarter of Hong Kong's building maintenance projects. After receiving a referral from the ICAC in 2024, the Competition Commission uncovered the group, comprising multiple contractors and intermediaries. The mastermind Chen Quing-Kun, who owns 3 construction companies, coordinated pricing with 5 other firms to ensure the designated contractor won the tenders. The watchdog says the group first identified target projects across Hong Kong, then assigned roles within the syndicate with predetermined bid prices. Some firms submitted so-called cover bids to create the illusion of competition. Internal communications revealed the syndicate's ambition to corner up to a quarter of Hong Kong's building maintenance projects. Between April 2022 and late 2023, the group took part in 11 projects, except for the 2 contracts at Neptune Terrace in Chai Wan and Chui Lam Estate in Cheung Kwan O, which were overturned. The other projects, including Wanford Court in Taipo and a Humber building in Yau Ma Tei, had works completed. The Commission has initiated legal proceedings with a competition tribunal against 12 individuals, including Chen Quing-Kun as well as 6 other companies. The Commission asks that some contractors may have made false declarations by signing non-collusion undertakings, while others failed to provide information during probes in breach of the competition ordinance. The relevant cases have been referred to the police for follow-up. Noting the gravity of the situation, lawmaker Adrian Ho urges for the criminalization of bid-rigging acts. Ho says the probes this time revealed the difficulties of the competition watchdog to even obtain information from the sector. Noting the limited executive powers granted to the Commission now, Ho says in addition to administrative fines, those committing bid-rigging acts should also be held criminally responsible to boost deterrence. The Independent Commission Against Corruption has charged 5 people over alleged bribery for contract schemes linked to 3 residential building maintenance works worth about $90 million. 4 men and a woman, including a secretary of the Owners Corporation and several alleged middlemen of the building maintenance projects, face 8 charges under the Prevention of Bribery Ordinance. The defendants, aged between 42 and 70, appeared at the Eastern Magistrates Courts and have been released on bail. The ICAC and the Competition Commission earlier mounted a joint operation uncovering a syndicate suspected of securing building maintenance contracts through bribery and bid rigging. The cases involved tenders at 3 estates, including Yan Shui Court in Chai Wan, Hoi Tao Building in Kennedy Town, and Victory Garden in Kwai Chung. In the Victory Garden case, suspect Wang Shengyu allegedly offered casino chips of an unspecified amount and renovation services worth around $50,000 to the chairman of the owners group 4 times between July 2020 and April 2024, in hopes of getting his help to secure work for certain consultants and contractors recommended by Wang. These bribes were eventually rejected, and the project worth $21 million was eventually awarded to other companies. In another case involving a major maintenance contract for Hoi Tao Building in Kennedy Town, the ICAC says residents had initially approved a $31 million contract to a construction company, but some other owners filed a lawsuit to overturn it. The 2 alleged middlemen are accused of offering red packets and bribes totaling about $600,000 to a representative of the owners group from 2022 to 2024 in an attempt to persuade him to lobby other owners to settle and to allow the original construction firm to proceed with the contract. That owner representative rejected the offers. In the Yan Shui court case, the anti-graft party alleged that a defendant conspired with the then secretary of the owners group to bribe the chairman of the owners corporation in a bid to secure a contract associated with the defendant, but that owners group member refused. The ICAC says investigations are ongoing and is not ruling out more arrests. CK Hutchison has topped its claim to more than $2 billion in an international arbitration case against Panama. This came after the Panamanian government had taken control of the Hong Kong group's Panama Ports Company in February, in accordance with a Supreme Court ruling. Musin reports.
In a statement issued on Tuesday, Panama Ports Company, or PPC, said that the state's takeover of the Bilbao and Cristobal terminals near the Panama Canal and the occupation of the firm's property were unlawful. Based on damages that the takeover have caused, PPC has expanded its arbitration claim to more than $2 billion, roughly about 15.6 billion Hong Kong dollars. The company has taken the case to arbitration under the rules of the International Chamber of Commerce Court. PPC said the Panamanian authorities have been taking actions against the firm for more than a year, describing it as choosing a path of conflict. Panama earlier stated that it has not retained counsel for the case. PPC, meanwhile, said that it's the state's attempt to delay the arbitration and to create a chilling signal to foreign investors. In late February, Panama's Supreme Court ruled that the concession held by PPC to operate the two ports at the canal was unconstitutional. Moment 9, TVB News.
As Israel continues to pound Iran with missiles, there has yet to be any indications of a slowdown of the Israel Defense Forces military operation in Lebanon. Over the past few weeks, routine airstrikes conducted by the Israelis resulted in the devastation of several bridges in the country. This, as Lebanese President Joseph Aoun believes the targeting of bridges marked the prelude of a full-scale Israeli invasion of his nation. Timothy Lee reports.
The IDF released footage along with a statement on Tuesday claiming that its airstrikes in Lebanon targeted Shia Islamic militia Hezbollah, which involved bridges, radio, and gas stations. The Israeli military said striking gas stations would put a major dent on Hezbollah finances, noting that they were sources of fuel for the militia's vehicles carrying weapons and personnel. Israeli Minister of Defense Israel Katz noted the IDF destroyed 5 bridges over the past few weeks, claiming that they were also used by Hezbollah for transporting weapons. This, as Lebanese President Joseph Aoun earlier said the Israeli attacks indicated the prelude of a full-scale invasion from its southern neighbor. The Israeli defense chief further noted his country's forces will establish a security zone that stretches to the Litani River, which is around 30 kilometers north of the current Israel-Lebanon border. The IDF stressed that all evacuated residents in the area could not return to their homes until Tel Aviv declares the area to be safe again. Lebanon's health ministry stated that since Israeli attacks began on the 2nd of this month, it has recorded more than 1,000 fatalities, with at least 118 of them being children. Another 3,000 were wounded and over 1 million people have been displaced. A statement issued by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, condemned Israel's strikes against Lebanese and Palestinian civilians as utterly unacceptable, adding that if Tel Aviv continues such actions, it will be subject to more missile and drone attacks from Tehran. Meanwhile, a woman was killed in northern Israel on Tuesday during a barrage of drone and rocket attacks from Hezbollah. It marked the first Israeli death caused by Hezbollah in this latest conflict. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Welcome back. In the U.S., a New Mexico jury ordered Meta, the parent company of social media giant Facebook, to pay $375 million in penalties after it found the company liable for endangering children and having negative impacts on their mental health. Meta noted it will appeal the ruling. Timothy Lee tells us more.
After a close to 7-week trial in the U.S. state of New Mexico, a jury in the city of Santa Fe ruled on Tuesday that Meta, the parent company of social media platforms Facebook and Instagram, liable for damaging the mental health and well-being of children. The jury said Meta prioritized profit over safety and violated the state's Unfair Practices Act, having misled the public about the safety of its platforms as well as taking advantage of the vulnerability of children. The court ordered Meta to pay $375 million in penalties, which is around 2.9 billion Hong Kong dollars. The case began with a secret investigation conducted by the New Mexico Attorney General's office, which involved investigators posing as 14-year-olds setting up Facebook and Instagram accounts. The accounts subsequently received sexually explicit content as well as adult contacts. This resulted in the Attorney General's office filing a lawsuit against Meta in 2023, which alleged that the company provided underage users with sexually explicit content and engaged in the exploitation of minors. A spokesperson for Meta rejected the ruling, saying that the company will appeal. The company emphasized it has always strived to ensure safety for users of its platforms and will continue to defend its reputation. The unprecedented verdict marked the first time a U.S. state has won a trial against Meta for harming youngsters. This, as a separate jury in Los Angeles is currently deliberating a lawsuit filed by young women who alleged the company's social media platforms were intentionally designed to be addictive, which could lead to users developing mental disorders. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Due to short staffing in the U.S. Transportation Security Administration, airport workers swelling crowds are seen in major hubs during the busy spring travel season. In Houston, passengers at George Bush Intercontinental Airport were told to arrive hours before their flights and navigated meandering lines to get through security on Tuesday.
And we've been in this airport since 8 o'clock in the morning. Very tired, queuing and very slow.
About 2.5 hours so far, and it looks like probably another hour or so to go. Yeah, it's insane.
We missed our flight after being in line for like 4 hours. So our flight is at 8:05 again today. So we got here extra early, and we've been in line for about 2 hours now.
Senators are racing to get the Department of Homeland Security reopened as Democrats refuse to fund the department without changes to immigration enforcement and mass deportation operations. The funding standoff in mid-February has forced tens of thousands of TSA officers to go without pay, with nearly 11% of them missing work on Monday and at least 458 officers quitting altogether. Earlier this week, the Trump administration began deploying hundreds of immigration agents and Homeland Security investigations officers at 14 airports across the country to aid security screening. Television Broadcast Limited has returned to profit for the past year with $59 million earnings and earnings per share at 13 cents. Operating cash profit, or EBITDA, rose 23.7% year-on-year to $365 million. The group also reveals plans to be renamed as TVB Limited. The proposed name change is still pending shareholder and regulatory approval and will not affect shareholder rights or operations. The board believes the new branding aligns more closely with the firm's evolved business identity and market position, as well as its broader role in content production, digital streaming, and IP licensing business, as it moves beyond its origins as a pure television broadcaster. Hong Kong has locked in a 5-year agreement with Art Basel to remain the fair's exclusive host in the region. Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Rosanna Law says the deal highlights the city's unique status and organizers are looking to scale up the fair and introduce new formats to draw collectors and art lovers from around the world. Law also underscores Art Basel's strong performance over the past 2 years, with increased attendance from 80,400 in 2024 to 86,500 last year. Sino-Japanese relations have deteriorated following Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's remarks regarding Taiwan. Those who run the memorial hall of the victims in Nanjing Massacre by Japanese invaders stressed that history cannot be altered and the museum will strengthen education. Celine Chan spoke to them.
Among the 30,000 victims of the Nanjing Massacre, the archival records of approximately 10,000 of them are preserved within this grand archive vault at the Memorial Hall of Victims in Nanjing Massacre. Built upon the original site of the Jiangdongmen mass slaughter, roughly 4,000 artifacts, including precious photographs and newspaper clippings within the hall, recount the tragedy that befell Nanjing. Mr. Huang, a visitor from Guangdong, said every Chinese citizen should remember the war and cherish peace, believing that is the only way we may build a better future. December 13th every year is the National Memorial Day for the victims of the Nanjing Massacre. The National Memorial Ceremony is held here at the Memorial Hall every year. The Japanese Education Ministry approved history textbooks that revised the word aggression to advance in describing the Japanese military action against China and attributed the cause of the Nanjing Massacre to fierce resistance by the Chinese military.
无论中日关系如何变化,
No matter how Sino-Japanese relations may evolve, our museum will continue to present this history as it is. Regarding the recent erroneous remarks by the Japanese government, the future of Sino-Japanese relations depends primarily on Japan. Regardless of how bilateral ties develop, the history remains unchanged and stands firmly here.
The Memorial Hall has been awarded titles including the National Demonstration Base for Patriotism Education and has welcomed around 50 groups of students from Hong Kong last year.
日军这个占领香港期间,
During Japan's occupation of Hong Kong, the Japanese military committed likewise atrocities, and these are all parts of the same history. I believe we should welcome our young people from Hong Kong to come and visit. It offers them an opportunity to receive regular education on these matters and allow them to engage with the historical records directly through touring around the museum.
Last year marked the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. The Memorial Hall collaborated with the Hong Kong government to present a special exhibition. The museum said they will bring further exhibitions on the theme of the War of Resistance to the city in the future, hoping to deepen the sense of patriotism among Hong Kong compatriots. Celine Chan, TVB News, Nanjing.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.